coming at you from Fl'AwesomeBlossom and the little piece of living room that I've carved out for today's filming purposes. Now today was supposed to look a whole lot different, but it's not because I have a migraine and it's really difficult to show up when I have a migraine, but I wanted to do it for myself and I really want to do it for you as well. So for those of you who may not know what a migraine headache is, let me explain a little bit. It is a very specific type of headache. It is a vascular headache. And what that means is that it is completely tied to the blood flow that is happening within our body. A migraine is the sudden and complete dilation, so whoop, of our blood vessels that supply the brain. Now for me right now, I don't have any vision in my left eye because it's full of spots. And that's probably because what's going on here in the back of my head is all of these blood vessels are open so much that they are pressing on nerves. They're pressing on the optic center in my brain, which is giving me these spots in my eye and also like blurry vision. P.S. Obviously I wear glasses, so I have blurry vision like anyway, but with my corrective lenses, I can see well, but it's right now, I can't see anything out this eye. And I'm not even at the peak of my migraine. All right. Now, in order to combat the migraine, what I am going to propose to you are two things. Number one, you can try this trick. What you want to do is you want to take a lot of that blood and you want to drive it back down into your body. So a great trick that I learned is to put your feet into super cold water, right? As cold as you can stand it. Ice water is best if you can. And you just sit there with your 2 feet in there for about 10 minutes, right? If you can. And sometimes it's really hard to keep your feet in ice cold water. You're going to go through something called CBAN, right? So you're going to put your little piggies in the water and first you're going to be like, wow, that's cold. And then the longer you stand in that cold, cold water, you're going to be like, this is actually so cold, it's burning me right now. It feels like I'm being burned. And then the next step is like, oh, this is super achy. I don't really like this. But then gloriously, you get numb. So you go through all that CBAN. And once your feet go numb, then you come out of the ice cold and you just rest. This will often take my migraine down from a 9 out of 10 to like a 7 out of 10. But sometimes it doesn't work. So I have discovered a second little trick that also seems to help. But this one's a little bit delicate because it requires movement and it needs to be slow and steady so that you're not really driving up your blood pressure while you're doing this. Otherwise, it's just going to increase the migraine and you're not going to get the benefits of it. So the thing that I'm talking about is called a Sufi Grind. And this is a yoga activation. It's not a pose because you're actively doing stuff. So for me today, it was too much effort for me to even get my yoga mat. So I did not do that. I'm just sitting on the floor in my living room, crisscross applesauce. And I'm going to start in a nice sit position, elongate my spine. I'm really pushing down into my sit bones. So I really feel the ground. I really feel the floor underneath me. And it is important to keep this position and not to move our pelvis. We are going to be rotating our torso, so like this portion of ourselves, above our pelvis. And we're going to be doing like big circles like this, nice, big, slow circles. Now, for the purpose of the video, I'm only going to show you a few of them, but typically I will do 10 circles right to left, then I will do 10 left to right, and I repeat that 3 times. And that's because 3's my thing. You do you, okay? So here we go. Sit bones nice and firm, back is straight, pulling those shoulder blades back and down. I've got my hands on my knees to help me out, and we're gonna start. I'm gonna start to the right. You do you. You can do whatever side you want, but I like to start at the right-hand side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go all the way over as far as you can, keeping those sit bones on the floor. And then you're going to move forward in a nice big circle. And you're going to come backwards, nice and gentle, and over to the right again. Okay, so you see how this is? We're not going fast. If I was feeling well, I would do this a little more vigorously. And in doing so, I would find that this would improve my digestion. All right, so let's just pretend I did 10 to the right. Now we're just going to go 10 to the left. Backwards. And what we're doing here is we are grinding our spine and grinding our intestines into our spine. That might sound alarming, but it feels pretty good. And I gotta tell you, it will drive the blood down into your torso. And speaking of torso, I really want you to know that this area here is not your stomach. Okay? It's not. Your stomach is an organ that lives underneath your rib cage, kind of nestled sort of beside the heart, and it's the biggest, no, it's not the biggest organ, but it is a main organ of digestion. Digestion starts in the mouth, but the stomach is the next biggest organ where everything gets dumped into it and it gets washed in our stomach acid. And this is where the real digestion really starts. Like we have a precursor, like an amuse-bouche inside of our mouth with some enzymes breaking down a few things. But honestly, it's the stomach, our big washing machine organ. Like it's doing a lot of work. So the Sufi Grind helps move this organ around, maybe jostles some things around in there, and helps to move digestion along. But the main thing that it does is it really works our large and small intestines. And Sufi Grinds really promote peristalsis, which is the movement of our digestive waste all the way through our bodies until it exits. All right, so if you were to practice doing Sufi Grinds twice a week, you are going to notice an improvement in digestion, and you are also going to notice a difference in your bowel movements. This will often be a little bit more frequent bowel movements, and the quality might improve. And what I mean by that is you're going to get a little bit more waste out than normal because you are grinding. It's possible during this movement that you can dislodge some things that have been stuck inside the, like on the walls of your intestines and your colon. It's not a guarantee, but it can happen, which is great. Now, I understand that most North Americans do not have a bowel movement every single day. I used to have 3, 1 meal in, 1 meal out. Yay! Now I'm in my 50s, I'm in menopause, and that's definitely slowing down, which is like kind of alarming, right? Something that you've sort of been counting on, you know your body, it's been going through this process for years, and then it starts to be questionable. Yeah, digestion's not something you want to mess around with. You want that on par for sure. So my suggestion is to try some of the Sufi Grinds, see how you feel. Let me know in the comments if you've tried it, and let me know if you noticed anything positive. Let me know if you noticed anything negative about it. I don't know. Be gentle with yourself. Do what you can do. Do not push yourself out of your actual ability, okay? So I don't want anyone to go crazy here, but I definitely want you to try out this motion and see how that affects your digestion. P.S. It's going to have a secondary positive effect on you, because if you were to be able to do these Sufi Grinds, you might be releasing stored emotions. You know, things like bitterness, unforgiveness. Those things live in our body as unprocessed emotions, and we tend to shove them into our digestive tract. Like we talked about the gallbladder before. I'm going to do a whole thing on the liver. we will discuss this a little bit more, but the best part about the Sufi Grinds is that this movement in and around the abdomen might help to release some of these emotions. So after the Sufi Grinds, if you're feeling angry, go to your pillow and yell into your pillow, like scream into your pillow, get your anger out someplace consequence-free, right? So I find yelling into my pillow very therapeutic. That's just me. And then once I've calmed down, I can write a little bit of a list about like, okay, what made me angry? What are the things that I need to work on? Are there conversations with people that I need to have? Sufi Grinds might get you to that place. And that's a benefit. All right, my darling dahlias, mes petits choux, and my precious petals. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that you treat people who suffer from migraines with a little bit more respect, with a little bit more gentleness. I hope you treat yourself with a little more gentleness. And whatever else you do today, I hope that you live your life in full-on Fl'awesome Blossom. I'll see you next time.